What is that one SZOL experience you will never tell anyone about? Eye roll. I once had my feet massaged by a Craigslist foot fetishist. It wasn't SZOL for me, but it totally was for him. He was on Judge Mathis. I was eating my then girlfriend's PSSY when she farted so loudly right in my face. I wasn't going to miss a beat and continued on, but she bolted out of bed, went into the bathroom and cried. I was like, baby, it's okay, I just farted right now too. Solidarity. She didn't know what that word meant and cried some more. I was 21 and she was in her 40s. She took me back to her after some heavy drinking. Apparently had some awful sex, then sometime in the night I pissed her bed. She drove me back to my car and then we had some Waffle House. SX and Waffle House. Sounds like a top night to me. I was once hanging out at a boyfriend's house and we were making out on the bed with me straddling him when he started slipping his hand down my undies. I figured he was just going to cop a feel of my buns when he suddenly shoved his finger down my bum crack before pulling out his finger and sniffing it. Then he looked at me all sly and said, "You had a poop today, didn't you?" This is it. The creepiest one. The first time hooking up with a new girlfriend. Getting down to business. I came in my pants. She was grinding on top of me. When she wanted to go further, I told her I wanted to take things slow. Not the truth. The truth was she was amazingly SI. And I came in my pants. Quickly changed clothing, getting ready for bed. And in reality I didn't want to sleep in cum-filled pants. She still spent the night. You should have given it 10 mins and gone for it. Similar thing happened to me when dating a hot chick in college. Only she noticed and was very nice about it. Next few times I'd either jack off before she came over or excuse myself and pop out a quick one in the bathroom. Good to go. At a marina where I keep my boat, I met a stunning knockout 38-year-old blonde with perfect bolt-on boobs. She was married to the ugliest 70-year-old man I've ever seen. And he had a ton of health issues. After a month or so she asked if I wanted to have sex with her. With her husband's permission. And even while her husband watched. I declined. But what can I say? A few weeks later I ran into the husband, who confirmed that he knew about it and was okay with it. That's how they took care of her needs he couldn't fill. I thought of the pretty woman and those perfect boobs again. And accepted. We set it up for the following weekend. I'll skip the full blast awkwardness of the beginning of the evening and just say that the SX consisted of her on her back. Silent. Motionless. Staring at the ceiling. While her husband watched. Walked around and yelled FCK that WHRE. About 250 times. Finished and split. Never spoke of it to anyone. My boyfriend of 3 years used to like me to dress up in a latex nurse outfit and strap on FCK him in the ass. He would beg for it every night and preferred it more than regular SX. More than once he asked me to fist him. I always refused. He then cheated on me with a 40-year-old man. Hey. It's not your fault. 40-year-old men just have bigger fists. When I was about 13. And overly sorely curious. I lubed up a leather couch and had sex with it. Yeah. I've only told one person the real truth. What I tell most people. Yeah man. I had a threesome. It was awesome. 3 days of anything I wanted with 2 beautiful women. What I've only told one person. It was the most depressing threesome ever. I loved one girl. Who wanted to FCK the other girl. Who only wanted to be with me. I mean. Yeah. It was awesome. But I don't think back on it fondly. Group SX always sounds excellent until you factor in the tangled web of feelings that can arise out of it. I lost my virginity to a stranger in a tent. I really wish I hadn't done that. Edit. For those asking. It was at a music festival. And not in a circus tent. Sadly. I was doing a girl in the butt and she clinched up right as I was pulling out. Her butt grabbed the condom off as I slid out, leaving a yellow rubber circle sticking out of her butt. I let out a little hair and put it back on. whilst still in her butt. Comma put it back on. When me and my BF first started dating, I got my period one night. In the morning. While it was dark. We found out during some great sex. We didn't realize until he looked at me and his face was darker looking. It was all over both of us. His face, stomach, hands and dick were covered. He got it all over my legs, arms, boobs and stomach. Yep. Edit. Clarity. Was having sex with a girl in my freshman year of college. My allergies were particularly bad at this time of year and my nose was pretty runny. I'm F-king her missionary position and a glob of mucus drips from my nose and into hers as she's breathing in. She coughs in my face and we were both too disgusted to continue. Thing went better the night after though. The day I removed her butt plug and it had changed colors. Didn't even tell her. Was it one of those fancy mood butt plugs? Dated this guy who was dumb as a box of rocks. I was 19. He was 18. It's one of the first couple of times we've had sex. I'm riding him and as I start to orgasm and moan he says to me, "What are you doing?" I mean genuinely confused. I'm a little stunned but dude. I'm about to come so I say I'm coming. His reply? "Well get off me. I don't want that stuff all over me." As if I'm about to spray semen. Guy was a F-king imbecile. Once had sex with a 68-year-old man, consensual, when I was 19 years old. I watched an orgy between a black girl, a white girl, a bi but very gay guy and a semi-retro dead crippled male. I couldn't have sex for a few weeks after that without getting limp and grossed out by the thought of the cripple coming. My dog licked my ex-girlfriend's vagina and she said, "Looks like your dog wants to play too." That's your fault for F-king her with a pepperoni. My ex and I were doing it doggy style with the lights on. And he noticed what he thought was a large scar just above my bum. He asked if I'd ever had surgery there and I said no and freaked out about it. We stopped everything and he held up a mirror so that I could see. Then I made him turn around and bend over so I could check. And lo and behold, he had one too. Turns out there is actually a scar looking crease there that lots of people have. I've surreptitiously looked for it on other partners ever since. Close bracket. Either that, or the government has been secretly removing our tails. Anyways, it wasn't shameful or immoral, but a close inspection of each other's rectums with mirrors and bright lights. It was definitely a big laugh and something I'm unlikely to tell any future BFS. This reminds me of some story about a guy that met a really huge girl on Craigslist and just said FCK it and banged her. I remember he complained of the smell and he was repulsed until he figured out she was a squirter. That story still sends shivers down my spine. Twist, she's not a squirter. He punctured an abscess. That one time I had a threesome with a married couple. By itself it's pretty mundane. The kicker. The wife was 7 months pregnant and had a weak cervix. I could feel the staples in her cervix as I was doing her doggy style while she blew her husband. So it was kind of like a foursome. Comma staples in her cervix. Did she at least have an easy button? One of the first times giving my boyfriend a blowjob. I had been watching PRN the days before and learnt how to do it from that. I tried to deep throat him, forgetting completely that we had eaten 2 huge pizzas about 30 minutes earlier and ended up puking all over his dick. I was so embarrassed. We hadn't been dating for too long. But he just laughed and then we took our first shower together. Saved by the Bell roleplay. The amount of SZOL experimentation I did with my stepsister. We literally tried anything we could think of. Most any of my SZOL experiences before my wife. Not because of anything wrong with them. Just because they were boring unimpressive. I semi-banged a cousin of my cousin's that came to visit a couple of times. It happened in their backyard and he'll never tell anybody because he is married and has kids and I feel bad. Open bracket. Edit. Okay. It was my blood-related cousin's husband's cousin. My cousin-in-law's cousin. I did not screw my sibling myself, a blood related relative of mine. Thank you. When I read cousin of my cousin, I thought that you were talking about yourself in a very confusing way. It makes this so much funnier. Oh god. Here it goes. I was at a camp out in my backyard with a bunch of my friends and I so happened to invite the guy that I liked, and there was this other guy there that I had kinda messed with a little. So about a couple beers, wine, vodka shots later, we wound up having a threesome. Yes, in front of people. In the dark. In a tent. Ugh. In the middle of the threesome. They both start eating me out at the same time. It was glorious. I got to sit on one's face while the other was behind me touching me or whatever, so. By then I'm like, no young butthole, can't take it anymore. I need a break. So I temporarily tap out. I go inside my house to eat some food and drunk and stumble around, so then I go back to the tent and they are actually f-king each other. So I looked over to where they were. Shook my head and passed out. We don't talk about it. The CEO at my workplace left his office door open one night. So a co-worker and I decided to get drunk and have sex on his leather couch overlooking the city. Her ass? When Vagina fingering me from behind. Me. F. Well. I didn't really prepare. Girl stuck her entire tongue in there as a surprise and this made me poop a little. She got angry, disgusted. I left. No more drunken lesbian sex for a while for me. A guy I was sleeping with had ED the first few times. It's not my thing to tell. Especially as we have a lot of mutual friends, so I don't want to embarrass him. As a guy who had that sort of difficulty, thanks for not embarrassing him. I was 15 and often fooled around with my best friend's mom. I was always drunk high. I am a girl. Can't come from head. There, I said it. Now what? I had 2 chances to lose my virginity when I was 15 and I blew them. One friend of my sister came home to do homework with her. At one point my sis has to leave for a while and she stays studying. Gal was beautiful. Big tits, awesome face. Enters my room as I was standing and kneels down in front of me looking at me with this SLT face. I panicked and farted. To yet another friend of my sister. Short blonde, huge tits as well. Blue eyes, she was a wonder. She was sleeping over at my house. At something like 1 AM she wakes up and comes to my room. Puts herself into bed with me spooning and says, let's see what we've got here. And grabs my dick. I panicked once again and sent her off to then furiously masturbate. I'm never telling anyone. They beat me up for being an idiot. Bump for anxiety farts. Fisting a girl while f-king her in the ass. And I just kind of started jacking myself off inside her, cause what the hell. Was pretty interesting. Would try again. I just wanted to say thank you for not labeling this NSFW. They're just words, people. When I was little I went to our local swimming pool with some friends and our parents. When we were ready to go I would change somewhere out in the open with only a towel. I am not sure anymore how the next part exactly played out, but while changing there was a bee flying towards me. I must have panicked or something and I decided to hit my towel at him. This of course made the bee angry and he stung me. Yes, down there. My mother actually sucked the poison out of it. We later went by the doctor to confirm nothing was wrong. TL. Doctor got a blowjob from my mom at an exceptionally young age. Must have been very hard to hit him with your towel with both your arms broken. My kitten is oddly into the concept of the boyfriend and I having sex. I don't know if she just likes snuggling us when we're warm. Or what. This morning we were doing it missionary and she just crawled between us and went to sleep curled up between my tits. Most adorable mood wrecker ever. I have quite a few SZOL experiences that I think if they had happened to a few of my friends they would tell no one. But me. Shit happens and I don't mind sharing. I mean, I even took a girl home that turned out to be a girl with a penis once. Edit. This story is now an inside joke with my friends. There is even a kablank card someone wrote that time skit socket 420 got a blowjob. That I received oral from an adult male at the age of 12 or 13 after being bribed and threatened. Edit. It may not be my place